Our next flash talker is from Center of Food and Fermentation Technologies here in Estonia, where she leads plant-based food product research and development. And today she is here to talk about developing meat analog products from plant-based ingredients. And please welcome Mari-Liis Tammik. Louder, louder, more. Yes.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're not too tired to talk about some science. Woo, yay. Thank you for the introductions. My name is Mari-Liis, and I am a food researcher at the Center of Food and Fermentation Technologies. Sorry about the long name. So today I'm going to talk about briefly who we are and what we do in general, and then more about plant-based product development and with which products do we have and projects. So Center of Food and Fermentation Technology is a contract research organization. It's too high. Based in Tallinn. And our main competences are understanding the metabolism of different bacteria or microorganisms such as lactic acid bacteria and yeasts, and how to use those kind of organisms in food technology, pharma, biotechnology. We have a very modern lab. It was founded in 2004. With very highly qualified personnel with PhD and PhD student graduates. And also we have a lot of students here at this conference, so nice. And we also have a lot of different partners from all over the world, like DuPont and Lallemand being the biggest ones, but also a lot of Estonian companies. So our company is mainly divided into 4 units. Fermentation part, as I already said, they have a very good understanding of metabolism of different microorganisms, DNA synthesis, sequencing, and also modeling software for understanding their behavior. I work in food technology, so we do a lot of projects with plant-based foods, but also fermented drinks, dairy products, products with improved nutritional and health benefits, bread and bakery, and also because we do a lot of food development, then a lot of stability and shelf life testing. Another very interesting group is Nutrition Studies group, and they study how the way we eat affects our gut microbiome. And as any lab has instrumental analysis, so different analytical methods, and also we have a very trained assessor panel for sensory testing. So now more about plant-based product development in our center. So we have at the moment 2 very big projects. First is the innovation cluster for plant proteins. So we and University of Life Scientists are the scientific part of it, but we also have 10 different Estonian companies in the cluster. So our aim is to develop dairy alternatives like yogurt, curd, and cheeses from plant protein, but the emphasis on the nutritional value. Because a lot of products at the market right now are full of stabilizers, sugars, so we also want these products to be healthy as well. And also within this project, development of meat alternatives, where the focus is on degrading different anti-nutrients and optimization of extrusion technology. And the other very big project that we have right now is the Good Food Institute's research grant, which I will talk about in a few minutes. So this is just an example of our yogurt that we did. So it's mainly from oat and pea protein, but we, as I already said, we want to have more nutritious products. So we have increased the protein content, fiber content, and lowered the amount of sugar in those yogurts. So when we talk about meat alternatives, we can see a lot of market changes right now. So tofu, seitan, and tempeh have been on the market for ages. But in the 50s and 60s, when those products came to the Western countries, meat analogs were mainly made from soy and wheat. And these products didn't have a really good texture and sensory properties, so it didn't go to the masses. But the second generation meat alternatives are from texturized protein, vegetable protein. And these, as the name says, has a lot of texture and taste to it. So these kind of products are made with a machine called extruder. Basically, you have a feeder where you put protein powders in. You mix it with water, and it goes along the extruder. So here are different temperature zones, so it heats the protein and basically cooks it. The pressure increases, and after the material is coming out from the die, it creates texture. So we can get different kinds of products from extrusion. We also have an extruder in our lab. It is a twin screw extruder. It is a lab scale, so we can do a lot of testing with it, and we don't need a lot of materials to do testings for it. And it is suitable for many applications, from breakfast cereals to snacks, but we are mainly focusing on texturized vegetable protein. And the focus is on hemp, pea, fava bean, and oat, but we have done a lot of testing with soy, rice, linseed, and the rapeseed, sorry. And the other project that I want to talk about is the Good Food Institute's grant. Good Food Institute is a non-profit, governmental institution in the States. And we got the chance to write a project and won a grant for $250,000. So it's quite good for an Estonian company to have a grant like this. And our idea for the project was to use fermentation of oat protein for application in extruded meat analogs. And just to give a background why we wanted to use fermentation for this kind of project is that oats, as other cereals and legumes, have different anti-nutrients in it, such as phytic acid. And if you use concentrates and isolates in meat analogs, there is quite a big concentration of those anti-nutrients in it. So in order for those meat analogs to be nutritious as well, we need to get rid of those. As we saw that only extrusion didn't work, the anti-nutrients were still in the material, but enzymatic treatment was the best solution at the moment to get rid of those anti-nutrients. Unfortunately, fermentation hasn't had very good results as well, but we are still working on finding bacteria for those kind of degradation. So the main aim for this project is to develop nutritional, functional, and with a good sensory properties, extruded meat analogs, and to produce material that is with highly fibrous texture. And also to produce material that doesn't need a high content of emulsifiers or stabilizers in the final recipe. Here are some examples that we have done. On the left, you can see soy protein. I know these pictures are very weird. They are like rubber thingies, but bear with me. Soy extrudes extremely well. it has the protein content that makes this material highly fibrous, and as you can see from the electron microscope images, it has very fine fibers. When we tried only the oat protein, it extrudes quite well, but it is definitely more flakier and doesn't have distinct fibers. And when we did the sensory testing for it, oat concentrate can be a bit bitter and astringent, so the next step is to mix it with other proteins. So here are some examples that we have done with those rubber materials. We have created the soy and pea burgers, for example, or combination of soy and oat, as meatballs. And also we did some experiments when we first mixed different proteins before extruding. So it gave us sort of like pulled porky texture, which was really nice, and the oat flavor wasn't that dominant. So combining different proteins is definitely the way to go, I think, to have nice textures as well. And here are just some examples of what we have done with our partners. Bonsoya is a really good partner of us. We have done a lot of work in dairy alternatives. Also, a startup, Ethico Foods, we did brown rice and pea burger for them. And for Prana Foods, we did pea protein, sort of like minced meat product. So yeah, thank you for listening. It was a small overview of what we have done. Thank you.
Thank you. Some questions from our audience.
Sure.
So why does research prefer oat to soy?
Well, soy is definitely a very good material to use. As you saw from the pictures, it extrudes really well. It has a really nice PDCAS score, which is the essential amino acid score. But if we want to be sustainable, I think we need to valorize crops that are from this area. So importing stuff from Asia or Brazil isn't very sustainable. So I think we should make products from crops that grow in our region. And also not only to feed those to animals, we could make products that are more valuable.
Okay. You showed photos of like many cool machines and stuff. Have you tried using 3D printing for anything?
We have thought about it, but we don't have a 3D printer in our facility. But if someone has, write to me, let's try, why not? I know some people use 3D printer to make meat analogs, but I'm not so sure what's the texture of those materials, because for 3D printing you kind of use like this very pasty material, so I don't see how it will give texture to the final product, but it's promising technology, why not?
How closely are you working with Estonian companies?
Very close. We have very big partners, as I showed on the slide. So we are not producers, so we are more than happy to give our R&D to different producers and companies in here. So I think our cooperation is pretty good.
Are there any companies coming out with really innovative stuff in Estonia?
We'll see.
It's a secret.
Definitely.
I had my own question. Is it possible to make honey in a lab?
Honey?
Honey, yeah.
I think, sure, why not? Everything is possible.
But it's not something you've researched, or it hasn't come up?
No. But I think it's a sugary stuff. I think it's possible to make it, I don't know.
Maybe
a challenge for us.
Maybe somebody here will now think, I want to make honey. You also mentioned there was hemp protein. What do you make out of that?
We have made experience with the extruder, but hemp has a very distinctive flavor and aroma to it. So it gives nice texture, very fibrous texture, but it has some components in it that has very fishy, maybe fishy aromas, which is a bit off-putting. But if you mix it with something else, you will get more nicer product.
Okay. Could you make like something similar to fish out of it?
I think so. Yeah. The GFI will give another grant this year, so we are thinking about doing something for seafood as well.
What is your personal like favorite plant-based innovative product?
I was in San Francisco in September. I had the opportunity to try Impossible Burger. It was really good and made me jealous as a food scientist. But they have a team over 100 scientists who work on these products every day. So, yeah, we have a long way to go, but I think there is nice products to come out as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
Another applause, please.